Greetings, my name is Neosekken and welcome back to my Let's Play of Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. In the last episode, we started looking into the body we found in the corpse, but it exploded on us when we tried touching it, and it burned half of the corpse to a crisp, the fire that started from the explosion. And, well, we weren't able to get a positive ID on the corpse's identity. So, unfortunately, we decided to just leave things there after looking into the body as best we could, because while we were looking at the body, we found that they had a key on them, and we found that that key unlocked a data center on the 4th floor of the school. And then once Makoto discovered that, everybody went into the data center to look around in there, and they found that that's the room that the mastermind undoubtedly was using to monitor everybody during the killing game. And in there, we found a TV with a high-definition TV antenna in there. So after Hiro set it up, it showed what we thought was just a surveillance feed from the surveillance cameras inside the school, showing them in particular inside the data center. But Monokuma showed up here, much to everyone's surprise, because, and I say that because initially everybody was thinking that the body might belong to the mastermind because, well, they found a dead corpse. Monokuma is inactive, hasn't made any kind of announcements or anything like that after the morning announcement, which was probably just a recording anyway. So yeah, everybody assumed that maybe the mastermind was dead, and that they'd have a perfect opportunity to look into the mastermind and maybe find a way out of there after that. But no, turns out they're very much alive, and they revealed to everybody that what they were looking at on the television screen was actually a live broadcast that they are broadcasting to the entire world. The killing game, that is. And that they were looking at the live feed of that. So that basically just reveals that apparently the mastermind has somehow managed to take control of the entire television airway, all of the television airwaves. So they must undoubtedly have a huge amount of resources at their disposal in order to be able to accomplish something like this. So, yeah, the mastermind really does have a frightening amount of power, it would seem. But right as they were explaining this to us, Monokuma basically changed the subject on us by, well, making us start an investigation into the body we found earlier. So that way, we'd be all prepped up and ready to go for an upcoming class trial. So, after that, we started doing our investigation as usual into, well, the crime and the state of the corpse and all that in order to get as prepared for the class trial as possible. And, well, I think we got all our facts set up, but right before we entered, we found that Kyoko had managed to, that Kyoko was okay, because she showed up at literally the last minute before Monokuma would possibly do something to her, who was apparently keeping everybody waiting, but nobody knew this for sure at the time, because they all assumed that maybe Kyoko was the corpse on the floor after all, because the mastermind was alive. Yeah, the way I put it, it's kind of a little confusing, I suppose, but yeah, Kyoko is alive and well, and right before we head down the elevator, she and Makoto spoke to each other, and she revealed to us that she was actually in the 2nd floor of the dorms this entire time investigating the place. And she was able to stay hidden from the mastermind because there are no surveillance cameras of any kind up there. So, yeah. And I think that pretty much covers the gist of everything, so I'm going to go ahead and set my skills. Don't want to open my handbook. Now, I believe I have one other... Here it is. Ambidextrousness. Allows you to lock onto 2 statements at once. Effective during the bullet time battle. Costs 4 SP. Might as well equip it, even though I don't think I would really need that skill. Alright, let's do this.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Okay, Okay, well, I'll leave the rest up to you.
Well then, let's discuss the specifics of the victim. First, we need to clarify who exactly the unidentified victim is.
I agree.
It's Kyoko. There's no other explanation.
She's right across the room from you,
But
dumbass.
Kyoko's standing right there.
No, that's a ghost.
But she has legs and stuff.
Ghosts can very well have legs and stuff, you know.
Well, that's just because she's like the latest evolution in ghost technology.
You don't get how ghosts work, hero.
There's a limit to how much ridiculousness I can tolerate.
Okay. So I just have to prove that the corpse isn't Kyoko, right?
Why are we going through this? She's right there. Just have Hiro poke her or something. At his own risk, of course, but I mean, it would be the quickest way, I would think.
Let's compare Kyoko's traits to the traits of the dead body.
No, just have him poke her. If she feels solid to him, that should prove it.
Her traits?
One important trait that Kyoko has that proves the body doesn't belong to her. Well, it's Kyoko's gloves, really.
I got it!
And I love how Kyoko's piercing
I'm
glare
talking
was an
about her
option.
gloves. They'll give us some insight into the mystery. I'm sure of it.
In that case, I think it would be helpful if someone explained why she actually wears those gloves.
Why don't you do it? You know.
And would you happen to know the answer?
In fact, Monokuma told me. Apparently you have scars on your hands you don't want anyone to see.
Whoops.
Oh, you know, now that I think about it, the corpse wasn't wearing any gloves, right?
They probably just got burnt up in the explosion. I'm not convinced. The ghost is just trying to fool us all.
There's no way that corpse was Kyoko. But I can't prove why. We're gonna be stuck here in the case we move forward. So I don't have any choice but to... I can't believe we're actually doing something this phenomenally stupid at all, let alone right out of the gate. Like, what the hell? Alright, now what do I need here?
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves.
No, she wasn't.
Corpse is
God damn it.
absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
I agree. The body isn't Kyoko's, and I know I can prove it, because the fake nails would get in the way of wearing the gloves properly.
Impossible.
Okay, then prove
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well,
Yeah, she must have been wearing gloves.
no, it's wrong. No, there's no way the corpse was wearing gloves. Whoever it was, they were wearing fake nails, remember? I imagine trying to wear gloves over nails like that would have been a pretty big pain. Besides, Kyoko wears gloves to hide her hands, right? It'd be pretty weird for someone who's self-conscious about their hands to wear fake nails, don't you think?
Exactly.
Jeez, man, you don't know women, huh? They're complicated like that.
Oh, and you know better, do you? You of all people? I totally believe it.
If anyone doesn't know women, it's you.
Well, Kyoko, any thoughts?
These gloves were custom made to the size of my hands to make sure they don't interfere with my daily life. If I wore fake nails, the gloves wouldn't fit properly.
Then that's that. The dead body doesn't belong to Kyoko.
Which should have been obvious since she's standing right here.
Okay, so then, who's the real victim? First, we need to figure that out.
You wasted everybody's time, especially mine. I want it back. Give my time back to me, you porcupine-headed fool.
That's the first thing I said. You're the one who's been dragging us around in circles.
Before anything, we have to identify the victim. Everything starts from there. Really though, what an absolute time waster of a freaking segment. I would think the tattoo on the right hand, out of the bullets I have here, would be my best bullet here when it comes to identity.
Then who died?
There's gotta be some way to figure it out.
I don't think so. The face was scorched beyond recognition. And there wasn't any description in the Monokuma file.
Well, if we can't identify the body...
Yes, we can!
Then there's nothing else
Damn
we
it.
can do, right?
Stupid words. Spinning away, spinning like freaking tops.
If Kyoko really...
Then who died?
Like Beyblades.
I don't think so. The face was scorched beyond recognition.
And there wasn't any description in...
Well, if we can't identify the body...
There we go.
No, it's wrong. There was one clue left behind that we can use to identify the body.
What? For real?
Yup.
You're lying. He'll die a cruel and unusual death.
Will you be the one to inflict it on me, Toko? And after all the trouble I went through to be your friend. What an awful betrayal.
Cruel and unusual death. This I gotta see.
You've been seeing cruel and unusual deaths since the freaking game started, you jackass!
She's just being stupid. Ignore them, Makoto. Tell us what you're talking about.
I think you should change the she's to there, and then then the sense would be spot on.
The key to figuring out who it was is the tattoo on the back of her hand.
Oh, yeah. The design's pretty strange, huh? Is this a dog?
Woof woof.
Her master must have made her get it. To be like, you're my bitch.
Seriously? They really did something that humiliating?
I can totally picture Toko doing that, though, but not...
No, that's not it. The identity of the victim is hidden within that tattoo.
Oh, really?
If you compare the tattoo to other information we have, the victim's identity should become clear. Well, let's see. Mukuro Ikusaba's profile should be it.
I got it! The Fenrir Mercenary Corps. That's the name of the military group Mukuro Ikusaba belonged to.
Okay, so...
To show that they're a member of the team, each soldier that joins the squad would get a tattoo representing Fenrir somewhere on their body.
Fenrir?
The image that represents Fenrir is... Kyoko's piercing stare. Oh. Just a wolf. I'm not gonna lie, this was laughably easy to figure out. It's kind of
The
disappointing, really.
representation of Fenrir is a wolf.
Fenrir, the Wolf of Ragnarok. It's from Norse mythology. A huge, world-ending wolf beast.
Okay, so I remembered correctly. It was from Norse mythology.
He's the child of the trickster god Loki, and a female giant.
Man, after all this time, we finally got a glimpse of the literary all-star.
A wolf tattoo. Then that means...
Exactly. The body we found had a tattoo of a wolf. Which means that person must have once belonged to Fenrir. So it must have been Mukuro.
What?
Hold on. Isn't she the one that was behind this whole thing?
You sound surprised, but you're absolutely right. Yes, indeed. The trial this time is to solve the murder of Mukuro Ikusaba.
Are you saying the mastermind is dead? And now we have to have a cool-ass trial?
Obviously the mastermind isn't dead, they're controlling Monokuma.
No, it means we were wrong in thinking that Mukuro was the mastermind at all.
But I mean, being the ultimate despair seems like a pretty mastermindy title to me.
Maybe we shouldn't have been thinking of her as the ultimate despair in the first place. After all, looking at her profile, I didn't see anything that would fit such a description. All it said was that she was the ultimate soldier. If I remember correctly, that other information came from...
Kyoko.
Kyoko. That's what you told Makoto, right?
So that means Kyoko got it wrong?
Then who was she? Who was Mukuro Ikusaba? She's been gone this whole time, and when she finally turns up, she gets killed.
Usually when there's a scene where an important character dies, it has a lot more detail.
So you're saying she wasn't an important character? Which would mean she was the same as us. Just another participant.
Then who's the real mastermind?
It must have been the Hope's Peak Academy headmaster after all.
No, the headmaster has nothing to do with it.
But how can we trust that? We already know your information about Mukuro was wrong.
My information was not wrong.
Okay. We're in the middle of a trial right now. Figuring out who killed Mukuro is first and foremost. Please limit all future prattle, chatter, and chit-chat as much as possible.
Fine. Uncovering the identity of the mastermind will have to wait. But remember this. No matter what happens, we will find out who you really are. I stake my family name on it.
I have officially decided to completely ignore all such attempts at provocation. Now then, just so nobody's confused, let me state this one more time for the record.
Okay.
The reason we're having a class trial is because a murder among the students has taken place. Hammer that point straight into your big ol' brains!
What you're saying is that both the victim and the culprit are part of the student body?
Then one of us killed Mukuro?
Wait, no! There's a chance that there's some mystery 17th person who's been hiding all along!
Nope! There are only 16 students in total that have been taking part in these events.
Seriously? Then one of us killed Mukuro?
Who did it? Who's the killer this time?
Get a hold of yourself. We've already narrowed down the list of possible suspects.
Huh?
I'm sure you realize who I'm talking about, right, Makoto? Who the evidence points to?
Based on what we know, there can only be two suspects. Makoto and Kyoko. Neither of us have any rock-solid alibis for one thing, and, well, our information has been unreliable on the matter of Mukuro, so...
You've narrowed it down to Kyoko and me, right?
Why do you say that?
Allow me to explain. Just after nighttime last night, I went to the garden, so I can confirm that at that point, there was no dead body there. So, the murder must have taken place after I left the garden. However, Hiro, Toko, Hina, and I were in the gym the entire time.
The gym?
That's right. The four of us were there trying to dismantle Monokuma. The whole time, we were very careful not to go anywhere alone. We even went to the bathroom in pairs. All of which is to say, the four of us all have alibis. The only ones without alibis
Are me and Makoto. That's why you're able to narrow down the list of suspects.
Exactly so.
So the only suspects now are me and Kyoko. Damn it. I can't let this stand. Somehow I have to clear my name.
I have something I'd like to say regarding the whole alibi thing.
Are you thinking of raising an objection?
Maybe.
Well, before that, I just want to try and get a better idea of what time the murder took place. Doing that might reveal some kind of clue.
Whatever you want. Somebody go ahead and help him out.
Me and Byakuya can both confirm that the body wasn't in the garden at... Well, it was after nighttime for sure. I'd say it must have been around 10 o'clock. So the murder must have happened after 10 p.m.
Then I guess we can say the time frame for the murder was between then and when we found the body?
Between 10 p.m. last night and 9 o'clock earlier this morning.
Oh, but what time did we find the body?
The one who saw the body first was Toko, right? And she went to go get the pickaxe.
So what time was the body discovered at 9 o'clock?
I got it! The body must have been discovered at 9 a.m., since that's when Toko went to get the pickaxe.
Now then, Toko, what time is it? Well, when we left the gym, it was just before 9 o'clock, so it's probably 9 on the dot now. Okay, go get my gas.
He's right. It had to be around then.
So we can be totally sure the murder happened sometime between 10 at night and 9 in the morning.
For me, I was already asleep before nighttime hit, so I don't have an alibi after 10 o'clock. But I'm sure I met up with everyone else before 9 this morning.
We ran into each other in the dining hall, right? That was around... Oh yeah! Right around 7:30. I remember checking right before I went in, so I'm totally sure about it.
Which means from 10 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., you don't have an alibi.
The murder happened between 10 p.m. and 9 a.m. And I don't have an alibi from 10 p.m. till 7:30 a.m. Okay then, looks like the game has begun. If I can provide an alibi for that period, then I just have to prove the murder didn't happen during a time I don't have an alibi. What do I need here?
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think.
Sprinklers come on every morning at 7:30. This time is impossible to change. Body analysis. So, the body was clearly dry when we showed up and found the corpse around 9. Because only the top half was wet when we put out the fire on the corpse when it exploded. And yet, we know from the sprinkler system that it always turns on at 7:30 in the morning every day, without exception. So, if the corpse is already lying in right where we found it, it should have already been wet, and yet it wasn't.
So Makoto, if you have any objections
That means
now...
your dead body is just for the bomb. And this scene took place in the garden, right? If I remember, there's something that happens there every morning at a certain time.
We've established a
Sprinklers.
time
I think I
frame
need
for the murder.
sprinklers.
It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time.
Oh, wait a minute. If I use the sprinklers on 7:30, that wouldn't be a contradiction. It would just... Because Sprinkler Triple talks about the sprinklers coming on at 7:30, so... Maybe what I need to use it on is 10:30.
It took place
10 o'clock, excuse me.
10 o'clock at night.
There we go!
No, that's wrong.
I like how I had to figure this one out here through process of
Actually,
elimination
the murder
rather than actual
couldn't have
logic.
happened anywhere near 10 o'clock. It had to have taken place way later.
And what makes you say that?
Because of the sprinklers in the garden. The sprinklers are set to go off right at 7:30 every morning, right? So if the body had been in the garden before 7:30, then it should have been completely soaked.
Oh, hold on! I remember this part perfectly. The body was wet. Dripping wet, in fact.
Sorry, Toko, but you're wrong.
I'm wrong? How? Are you saying only the mouth down south was wet? How dare you spew such indecent words?
You're the only one saying those words, Toko.
No, I'm saying that the body was wet, but not because of the sprinklers.
What do you mean? By denying the sprinkler, are you trying to deny my entire existence?
You must be feeling that persecution complex of yours must be flaring extra strong today.
Man, you're totally wacko.
If you really think it wasn't the sprinkler, you'd better tell us why!
Okay. I need to prove that it wasn't the sprinklers that got the body wet. All I have to do is hit Toko with certain evidence, and that should do it. Oh dear. I would like to have time to look at my evidence.
I admit
Shit.
nothing. No! That's enough! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. No! That's enough! Are you trying to blame me?
No.
I admit nothing. I'm right about this. I admit nothing. No! That's enough! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. No! That's enough! Are you trying to blame me?
There we go.
How can you say it wasn't the sprinkler?
This should prove it. Just remember what the body was like after the explosion, and you'll see why it wasn't the sprinklers.
Because it was completely dry when we found it.
The top half of the body was wet, yes, but the bottom half was completely dry. If the sprinklers got the body wet, shouldn't the whole body have been wet?
So they only got the top wet? The bottom was completely dry? What a brutal maniac!
I'm so sick of her.
I'm not. She's a damn riot.
Let's just move on. The reason only the top half was wet was because... while the body was still on fire, I doused it with water. But only the part on fire, the top half.
Oh, then I guess the sprinklers really didn't do it.
So if the sprinklers didn't get the body wet, then the murder must have taken place sometime after the sprinklers turned on at 7:30 in the morning.
Which means she must have been killed sometime between then and when the body was discovered at 9.
But Makoto's alibi was only missing from 10 o'clock last night to 7:30 this morning, right?
So there's no way Makoto could have done it. I guess you had an alibi after all. Good for you.
In which case, the only one left without an alibi is Kyoko.
Well, shit. Kyoko's the only one without an alibi. Which would mean that Mukuro's killer is... No. I refuse to believe it. Kyoko murdered someone? That's...
I'd just like to say one thing. If you vote for me, and I die here, the mystery of this school will stay hidden forever.
Why do you say that, Kyoko?
Which is why I can't let that happen.
Huh?
So are you saying you're not the culprit?
Of course I'm not. I have no reason to kill anyone. This is a trap the mastermind has laid for us.
A trap?
We're this far into the game, and now you decide to blame me?
We've been kind of blaming you from day one, you know, for everything that's been going on.
Stop wasting time! Stop wasting energy! You really think your little trick is gonna work?
Shut up, you!
You got it, boss! Shutting up now!
Anyway, Kyoko, you actually did have a reason to kill her.
Huh? She did?
She thought Mukuro was the ultimate despair. In other words, the mastermind behind everything. So she killed her to try and put a stop to all this. Isn't that right, Kyoko? But you made one catastrophic mistake. Mukuro wasn't the mastermind at all. And as a result, we were forced into another trial, something I'm sure you weren't at all expecting.
So, that was her motive?
If she had a motive and no alibi, well then, I think it's pretty clear Kyoko's gotta be the culprit.
We gotta explore every little bit of evidence we have so we can have no room for reasonable doubt. I would have thought that going through 4 trials of this by now would have hammered that point into your heads. How important it is to investigate everything.
I'm not the only one without an alibi. Makoto's explanation is still insufficient.
Huh?
The sprinklers didn't get the body wet, but that doesn't mean the murder happened when he said it did.
What are you...
Because you see, there is a way the body could have avoided getting wet.
Interesting. I'm listening.
All it would take is covering the body with a certain something to keep it from getting wet.
The tarp. A certain something at the scene was used to cover the body. Could have been this thing, the tarp.
I got it! You're talking about the tarp, aren't you?
You catch on quick. You're right. All you'd have to do is cover the body with the tarp, and that'd take care of the water. In fact, that's exactly what the killer did. The dirt pattern on the tarp can attest to that. Only one side of the tarp got dirty, because that's the side that got covered in water. The side that faced down over the body, meanwhile, kept perfectly clean. This proves that the killer used the tarp to keep the body from getting soaked.
But why would they go to all that effort just to keep the body from getting wet?
To disguise the time of murder.
Most likely so they could cloud the issue of when the murder actually took place. In other words, to create an excuse exactly like the one Makoto just gave us.
The table has been flipped! Why would Kyoko say that? Because she's just a habitual table flipper, Makoto. That's just her thing. Why would she want to make me look like the killer? No, I can't think about that right now. That tarp. If it was used the way Kyoko said, the tarp must have touched the body, right? But the body...
Wait. Something's not right.
Let me look at something. The body before the explosion. The head had a mask covering its head and a white jacket covering the body. The knife had been thrust into the abdomen, and there were blood stains around the wound. That's what it is. Why is there no blood on the tarp?
And what might that be?
I can't worry about Kyoko's motivations. Everyone, if I don't do something, everyone's gonna think I'm the killer. I have to refute what Kyoko said. Come on, give me a bullet that's... There we go. Body before the explosion. I think that's what I need right here.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
But we still have the problem with the blood.
It's wrong. Actually, one side being clean is pretty strange if you think about it. Because the blood wasn't dry before the body got blown up, right?
Exactly.
Byakuya said it himself. Not to touch it, or you might get some on you. If you put a tarp on a body in that state, it absolutely would have gotten blood on it.
Well, maybe the culprit washed it, so nobody would know they'd used it.
If they had, they would have washed both sides. Just washing the one side wouldn't hide anything.
Oh, yeah, true.
You tried, hero. I'll give you a gold star for effort.
More than that, what if the very blood we saw on the body was meant as a kind of camouflage?
Huh? The blood was camouflage?
What if, after the killer used the tarp to avoid the sprinklers, they then covered the body in blood that didn't belong to the victim?
You mean someone else's blood? Where would they get something like that?
Well, the first place I can think of is the nurse's office down on the first floor where there were blood packets.
I know! They could have grabbed some of the blood packs from the nurse's office. That's what Hifumi did, right? When he pretended to be dead?
No, that's not what happened this time.
And why do you say that?
The killer got the blood from right there in the garden.
He got blood from right there in the garden, right? Which means... Well, there is a missing chicken.
I got it! Could it have been chicken blood?
What? Chicken blood?
When I checked the chicken coop before the murder, there were 5 chickens. But after the murder, there were only 4.
So, you're saying someone killed a chicken and then covered the body with its blood?
Yep.
Man, that's messed up.
I know! That poor chicken didn't deserve that. Fucker. The person that killed the chicken, not the chicken.
Killing a living thing just to do something like that is awful. They should have at least eaten it.
I wonder if the killer had to get the blood from the scene so they wouldn't be spotted walking around. Anyway, there's no denying that a chicken went missing, which provides a basis for my theory.
Perhaps, but even so, there's one thing that still doesn't make sense. You said the culprit used the tarp to avoid the water and then covered the body in blood, right? But if that's the case, then the blood should have soaked into the ground around the body. But that's not what we saw. Only the victim's clothing had blood on it. The ground was completely clean.
I have to agree, that certainly is strange. Maybe they didn't apply the blood at the scene. Maybe they covered the coat in blood beforehand.
They covered it beforehand?
When you discovered the body, was it wearing the coat like you normally would?
I think so. Wait, no. The head was through the neck hole, but the arms weren't in the sleeves.
In fact, the thing looks like as though it was worn backwards, honestly.
Then that settles it.
Sorry, I'm having a tough time keeping up. What settles what?
Here's what happened. The murder took place before the sprinklers went off. But the body didn't get wet because the killer covered it with the tarp. Then, later, at the same time the killer was gathering up the tarp, they pulled the coat over the body, the coat they've already covered in blood. This series of cover-ups was meant to disguise the actual time the murder occurred. They wanted us to think the murder happened sometime after the sprinklers had gone off, at 7:30.
If that's actually what took place, it certainly becomes possible that the murder happened earlier.
But to pull all that off, wouldn't they have had to go back to the garden after the sprinklers turned off?
That actually wouldn't have been all that difficult.
Huh?
They already had the coat ready, so they just had to grab the tarp and pull the coat over the body. They'd be done in no time.
Maybe, but still.
Hina, after you met up with Makoto in the dining hall, did you two stay together from that point on?
Oh no, I headed off to the gym, and Makoto didn't show up till later.
Then he had plenty of time to spare, wouldn't you say?
That's not...
Unfortunately, that's exactly it, Makoto. We're in a sticky situation right now.
Don't bother saying it's not possible.
I must admit, Kyoko's reasoning is sound. Makoto's alibi is inadequate.
And suspicion falls back on me again. Why? Why is Kyoko trying to entrap me? I don't understand. Well, she said it not too long ago. If she dies, then solving the mystery of the school dies with her. This guy's dead body has been added to a truth bullet section of your handbook.
Well then, it looks like we're back to square one.
Let me look at the bullet real fast. The murder took place before the sprinklers turned on. The suspect covered the body with a tarp to prevent it from getting wet. Later, when they removed the tarp, the suspect placed a white jacket on the body. This jacket had previously been treated with blood to make it look like the corpse had been wearing it. Okay.
Makoto's alibi is no good, so once again, our suspects are him and Kyoko.
For serious, man? Which one of them did it? Hey, why don't we let luck decide? Let's flip a coin. 50-50 odds.
Okay, fine. Let's do that. Let's risk all our necks purely on chance.
Oh!
See? Pretty good idea, right?
Obviously not.
No, not that. I just remembered something super serious.
Well, don't just stand there. Out with it.
You know that knife we found all black and burnt?
Mm-hmm. One we found stuck in the body before it exploded, right? According to the Monokuma file, the knife went all the way through, from front to back. So, what about it?
I'm pretty sure I'd seen that knife somewhere before. That's what I thought when I first saw it. I just remembered.
Listen, more important. Well, Makoto, they're now starting to piece together where this knife came from. Prepared to be in a world of more hurt.
It's the knife we gave to Makoto?
You don't seem surprised. You must have noticed earlier.
Yeah,
Then why did you hide that fact?
it's not that I hid it. It's just...
I couldn't be sure what actually happened last night. I thought maybe I really did kill her. You should have said something.
Yes, very suspicious indeed.
You should have said something about this a lot sooner, you idiot. I mean, for crying out loud, this seems to be a bit of a pattern of you. Not opening your mouth would have saved you a lot more hassle later on.
The knife we found stuck in the body came from Makoto. Now I'm totally convinced he did it. 12,000% convinced.
Considering everything up till now, I should be able to make it clear. I have to prove that I didn't murder anyone. I'm not the killer.
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, then that seals it. Makoto did it.
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right? So there's no question. You took that knife of yours and killed her with it.
What a horrible man you are, Makoto.
I used that knife to kill Mukuro. There's no way. None of the statements that they said stick out to me that I could use to refute a contradiction. So, I think maybe this is what I need here. Suspect covered with tarp, preventing getting wet. Later on, when they... I found my contradiction. If I killed them by stabbing them, how would I be able to fit the coat over them with the knife sticking out like this? So I need to use a disguised body. here.
The knife we found
Probably for the
lodged in
stabbing
dead
remark at
body.
the end.
It's the same one we...
It really is, isn't it?
If he did have that, that seals it. Just because I had that automatically.
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her.
No, it's not.
No, that's wrong. Wait, hold on. The stab wound isn't what killed Mukuro. That should be clear from the description of the cover-up we just heard.
Lies! We never talked about what killed her!
No, don't you remember? The killer covered the dead body with the tarp, and then put the bloody coat on it, right? In other words, the victim never wore that blood-stained coat until after they were dead.
Okay, fine. So what?
So, when we discovered the body, the knife had been thrust through the coat along with the body. Meaning, if she wasn't stabbed until the coat was put on, and she was already dead at that point,
Then something else was the cause of her death, other than the stab wound. Now let's look. I'll look at presents. Let's look at the Monokuma file we have available. They were, however, dead before the blast. Victim had been stabbed a single time with a knife which went through the body. They had also been struck in the head with an object about as thick as a metal pipe. The body was covered with other wounds, but these were at least several days old. So, being struck in the head and whatever these other wounds are that are at least several days old, these are two other possibilities. These are two other things that could be the cause of death here. The question is, which one is it?
obviously the stab wound isn't what killed her.
Maybe you stabbed her twice. Once to kill her and once to cover it up.
The victim was stabbed twice in the same spot? No, there's no way that's possible. Because we just looked over the Monokuma
The
file.
Monokuma file clearly states that there was only one stab wound.
Oh yeah, it sure did. I totally forgot about that.
Then the knife...
Was just another piece of camouflage set up by the true killer. They probably stabbed her to draw attention away from what actually killed her. Exploding the body afterward was probably meant to do the same thing. The explosion severely damaged the body, making it impossible to know what really killed her. It was all the killer's attempt to destroy all evidence of their crime.
So they wanted us to notice the stab wound and then detonated the body afterward. They meant for us to latch onto the knife as the cause of death, then destroy any evidence proving otherwise.
Oh, hey, I have a question. It kind of goes back to the beginning, but what's the deal with that explosion anyway? Why'd the body just blow up all of a sudden like that?
Well, as we found during our investigation, it would appear that the bomb we took from that Monokuma in the gym had vanished. And there were some fragments near the corpse that showed something very similar looking to the bomb we took out, so they probably used that bomb, that same bomb,
If
to
you bothered
blow
to
the
put
thing
that
up.
lump of gray matter between your ears to use, you'd know the answer.
Well, if you're so smart, just tell me.
I'll tell you. I bet some unknown quantum particle caused an atomic level spontaneous combustion.
Then we'd all be irradiated right now, I'm sure.
I might be dumb, but even I'm not dumb enough to believe that.
Go ahead, Makoto. Tell her or we won't make any headway on this.
You tell her! There's only one explanation I can think of for the explosion. Well, the fragments near the body, as I just pointed out.
After the explosion, we found a tiny fragment of something on the ground near the body, right? That fragment reveals the cause of the explosion.
Huh? You know, I feel like I've seen something like it somewhere before.
That's only natural, because of course, we saw the same thing when we dismantled Monokuma. It's part of a bomb.
Oh! Then the explosion was because of the Monokuma bomb.
Anyway, the culprit's motive is becoming more and more obvious by the minute. They wanted the knife wound to look like the fatal injury so that we'd suspect Makoto. And the only one who would benefit from that
Is Kyoko.
is the only other possible suspect. You, Kyoko.
Hold on a second, Byakuya.
What's the problem?
Well, I just feel like we need to think this through. We still don't know what actually killed the victim.
That's true. It's definitely bugging me. What really killed her?
Fine. I have no problem with that. Let us continue the debate.
Well, let's take a look at what I have available here. So the knife wasn't what killed them. And as we looked over the Monokuma file, they were struck in the back of the head with an object that was about as thick as a pipe, and they also had wounds on them that was at least several days old. So, looking over all the evidence I have here, it's looking to me like these titanium arrows and this blade duct tape are the key that we need here, because none of the other evidence we have here really points to a murder weapon of any sorts. You know that the titanium arrows are pretty sturdy because they're made of titanium, but by themselves, it obviously wouldn't be able to create the wound that was listed on the Monokuma file in the back of her head. But if you tape them all together, then there you go. You could bunch them all up and then use their mass to basically create a nice little not battering ram, but a nice little thing that you can use to swing at somebody and do a good bit of damage if you hit them in the right spot. So the arrows and the tape, that's what we need.
It won't change the facts of the case regardless.
We need to determine what ultimately killed the victim. I need to concentrate. I'm not seeing anything.
Then shall we continue the debate?
I think I'm going to need
The
to take a
victim's
statement.
fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
The explosion didn't kill her for sure. I guess.
Well, yeah. She was already totally dead when that happened.
And it wasn't because of the knife, right?
Nope.
Then there's only one other thing.
Oh, yeah. According to the Monokuma file, that's gotta be it. There was evidence that showed she was hit on the back of her head.
And more than that, the victim had suffered countless wounds across her entire body.
I can only think of one thing that could have killed her.
Then shall we continue the debate? The victim's fatal injury has yet to be determined, correct?
No, that's wrong.
Well, I just determined it.
Mukuro died because of the blow to the back of the head she suffered.
What about the wounds all over the rest of her body? They didn't have anything to do with it?
The Monokuma file makes it clear that those weren't fresh wounds.
Oh yeah, good point. If they were old, I guess they don't really matter.
I'm not so sure, because if they didn't really matter to the victim's cause of death, why would they be mentioned at all?
Okay, then we're safe in assuming the blow to the back of her head is what killed her.
But then, what was the murder weapon?
The Monokuma file says she was hit with a blunt object, about as thick as a metal pipe.
Oh, I bet it was the pickaxe!
That ain't a metal pipe, genius.
How is that even possible? If you hit someone with that, it'd cave their skull in completely.
Well, maybe they held it the other way and hit her with the handle.
No way! The balance would be all off. You wouldn't be able to swing it with any kind of power. I wouldn't mind testing it on you if you want.
No thanks. I bet you just hit me with the metal end and call it an accident.
I'd love to scoop out that nasty brain of yours, throw it on the ground and spit on it.
I think we should move on before we end up creating another murder scenario right in the middle of this class trial here.
I feel the same way. Looks like we're on the same page this time.
Seriously?
We want to figure out what killed her, right? It just so happens we already know.
We already know? I knew we could count on you, Master.
I'm the one who figured it out.
So what was it?
Go ahead and tell them, Makoto. Surely you've deduced the real murder weapon?
Real murder weapon would be these arrows.
I got it! Mukuro was hit in the back of the head with something, and that's what killed him. And that something was the titanium arrow we found in the locker in the dojo.
Arrow. That's what the culprit attacked Mukuro with?
Indeed. There's no doubt about it.
Are you sure? That sounds kinda weird.
Hey! How dare you backtalk, Master? You have no right!
I'm not back-talking anything. I'm just saying what I think.
I don't blame Hina for doubting it, because there's one more thing about that weapon. One more secret. It needs something to hold them all together in order to be truly lethal, or at least in the way that it was used to be lethal. And I have it right up top, the bloody duct tape.
The titanium arrow. It was in the dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
Are you sure?
You don't sound convinced. What's the problem?
Well, 'cause in the Monokuma file, it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a metal pipe, right? It seems like an arrow would just be too thick.
Oh, by themselves, yes, you'd be right. But using a certain tool, they become very thick indeed.
You're right. Just the one arrow would have been too weak. That's why the killer used another weapon.
Another weapon?
Inside the dojo locker, we also found a balled-up wad of duct tape. The killer probably used this duct tape to bind multiple arrows together. Bundling them together using the duct tape would easily create a single weapon as thick as a pipe. And that's exactly what the killer did.
It's similar to Aesop's fable about the bundle of sticks. One stick is weak, but put them together and they become strong. It's meant to teach cooperation.
Damn, that's harsh.
How is it harsh? Are you even listening?
Anyway, that explains the murder weapon. As for who the culprit is that stashed the weapon in the dojo locker, it was you, Kyoko.
I've never been to the dojo.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, a little wooden key that we found in your room says otherwise.
Oh no, you absolutely have.
How can you say that with such confidence?
And we've witnessed you there before as well.
Because we
Personally.
have proof, of course. Don't we, Makoto? What's the matter? Surely you don't intend to protect a murderer. You know what will happen if you do, don't you? If you cover for the culprit, there's only one thing that can lead to. The death of us all, remember?
Of course I remember.
Then show us. Show everyone the evidence that proves Kyoko went to the dojo.
I have evidence. Evidence that Kyoko went to the dojo. Right here.
I got it! The one thing that proves Kyoko was in the dojo is... right here. The key to the dojo locker.
And how does that prove anything?
Because I found it in your room.
It was in my room?
Don't bother trying to play dumb. That key is just the final piece of the puzzle. Your non-existent alibi, your clear motive, your attempts to frame Makoto for the crime. This all proves that you are the true culprit. You can't explain this away, so just give up.
Hold on a second.
Not this again. You really are dead set on defending her, aren't you?
No, it's not that I want to defend her. It's just, there's one more thing I need to ask her. Kyoko, I want you to tell me something. Last night, you were in my room, weren't you? Why? What were you doing there? That's what I need to know.
I was just protecting you.
What?
She was protecting me. Probably from our masked wrestler. Then does that mean she knew I was being attacked? And she came to my rescue. Could that be when... Which would mean that Kyoko... She killed someone? For me?
That's enough. The time for idle chatter is over. A verdict is close at hand.
Wait. I'm warning you. Don't make this mistake. I'm not the killer.
I knew you were stubborn, but this is just getting ridiculous.
Really? But you should know better than anyone I didn't do it. Can you tell me I'm wrong?
I should know?
What? Byakuya should know better than anyone. What does that mean?
Those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Byakuya, what are you hiding?
Master would never hide something from me!
There's proof that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
That's what she's
You
saying.
stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime in the dojo locker, and then left the locker key in my own room, correct? But
Yep.
could I really have done that?
No, you couldn't. Because you didn't have access to your room. Byakuya should know what that Kyoko didn't do it. Why him?
Those words you just spoke. What do you...
Exactly.
I'm not the killer.
You should understand.
Byakuya,
Master would never hide something.
There's proof that you aren't the culprit.
No, that's wrong. If I'm right, Kyoko wouldn't have been able to get into her room
Huh? Why not?
because she had given her room key to Byakuya.
I see. So that's what you meant. And if I had the key to your room...
Then obviously I had no way of getting in. Without my room key, I couldn't have possibly put the locker key in there myself. Am I wrong?
Nope.
It would appear not.
Then you're finally starting to understand.
No. That's not actually true. There was a clear contradiction to what Kyoko just told us. An obvious lie. But this just isn't like her. To try and save herself with such a desperate lie. Does she really feel that threatened? Because she's the killer? Or something else? Well, again, she told us almost right from the get-go, when everybody starts suspecting her, that if we end up choosing her as the culprit, then the mystery of the school dies with her. I would think that would be the reason why, if you take things at face value. Was there some deeper meaning in what Kyoko said earlier? You go for me and I die here, the mystery of the school will stay hidden forever. It's a trap the mastermind has laid for us. The mastermind's trap. The mastermind is trying to trap Kyoko? But what if that's not really true? What can I do? What should I do? What should I... The mastermind's trap. The victim was Mukuro? And Kyoko killed her? What does Kyoko really know? What am I supposed to do? Kyoko's lie. I'm the only one who knows it's a lie. I'm the only one who can expose it. But who can I trust? What am I supposed to do? The mastermind's trap. If you spend all the time trying to avoid danger, you'll never move forward. We know danger, but that risk means solving a mystery. We have no choice. What do I do? I have to decide right here and now whether or not to expose Kyoko's lie. Okay, so this is an important decision we have to make here, because depending on the decision that we make here, we could or could not get a bad ending to the game. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to intentionally choose the wrong answer first, show you guys that ending, and then come back here and select the right option. But first, I'm going to try to run away. No, running away isn't going to solve anything. I have to decide right here and now whether or not to expose Kyoko's lie. We have to pursue the lie.
There was a lie hidden within Kyoko's statement just now.
A lie?
Isn't that right, Kyoko?
You said it. The burden of proof is on you. So let's hear it. Where's this lie, then?
Kyoko is definitely lying. It must be because there's some other deeper truth she wants to keep hidden. Here we go. I think I need to look at Kyoko's account here.
I didn't have the...
Let me look. Kyoko used Makuma's secret tool, which grants access to any room in the school to sneak into the second floor of the dorms. This area seems to have no monitors or security cameras. We need to use Kyoko's own account against her here.
Because I'd given it to Byakuya. There's no doubt about that, right?
You are correct.
So I couldn't possibly have gotten into my room.
No.
Except he really could have.
No. Kyoko could have gotten into her room. You said so yourself, didn't you, Kyoko?
Actually, to be precise, not quite. I use Makuma's secret tool, which can open any lock in the school.
Monokuma's secret tool?
Kyoko stole it from the headmaster's room. It lets you get into any room in the school, which means she could have used it to get into her own room.
Then I guess that's it.
You're giving up just like that? You admit to killing...
No, I'm simply recognizing that I lost.
What are you talking about?
Like I said, this was a trap, and I wasn't able to escape it.
I'm sorry, Kyoko,
So I lost. That's all this means.
but I gotta do this for completionist's sake.
Then, are you saying you really didn't... Kyoko, you really aren't the killer?
Okay, time's up!
Huh?
I'm sorry to say, but your time is up! All done, all finished. The class trial is all over.
Since when did we ever have a time limit to these things? Huh, Monokuma?
But that's ridiculous! Since when is there any...
It's because you were late, so the trial started late and time ran out. So then, it's time for voting time, okay? Everyone, please vote using the lever in front of you! But I guess we already know who the blackened is, don't we?
Good job. You got it right. Brilliantly right. We got it right? Does that mean Kyoko really is the killer? But something strange is going on here. There's something wrong with this whole class trial. Too late for regret. Too late now. Kyoko!
Now then, I've prepared a very special punishment.
I prepared an extra special punishment this time. Is everyone ready? Okay then.
Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time!
Well, at least the death will be relatively instantaneous. Not that this makes it any less horrible. And that's how the class trial of Mukuro Ikusaba came to an end. I still had to wonder whether Kyoko was actually innocent, or... Regardless, the truth was lost forever. Even for me. I just stopped thinking about it. That was the end of Mukuro's class trial. And in the end, it would prove to be our last class trial. Once that case was over, there was never a single murder at Hope's Peak ever again. We had obtained peace in exchange for the lives of all the others. Peace, but only inside the school. Peace, but only for us. So, Makoto, you remember that little prediction that Hiro gave you with our one and only free time event with him earlier on? About how you and him would be have the same between both of you, have the same mother for both your children? Looks like we've proven him right. Also, I really gotta wonder, though, what happened to poor Toko? If there wasn't any other class trials, then, well... I don't know. I'm thinking of two different things. She either died from some kind of illness, or she killed herself. And I can't imagine Byakuya ever actually reproducing with Toko, so what probably ended up happening was, well, Byakuya and Hina here ended up reproducing together, which explains the little kid right there on the ground. Toko didn't like that very much, and well, yeah. Peace, but only for us. That was the only hope. That was the only hope we had. Hope. 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 This is hope.
No! This isn't right!
Huh?
Makoto, why are you staring off into space? Don't you have a rebuttal for Kyoko's claim?
And I guess that was all just a strange dream we just had. Her claim? Oh, that's right. I have to... Do I expose Kyoko's lie or not? Spend no time trying to avoid danger. She's not wrong. I have to think about this very carefully. What do I do? I like how there's no real consequence to choosing the wrong option here. And that just starts us right here, right at the decision again, after we choose the wrong one. It's convenient for us though, because that means we don't have to sit through the whole trial again. So this time, we're just gonna let it go. I've made my decision. I have to believe in Kyoko. There's no way she would kill someone. There has to be some secret here. Something that has to do with the mastermind's trap that Kyoko mentioned.
Well, does no one have a rebuttal? Have you decided to accept her assertion as fact? I see. So you still refuse to accept it. I suppose we have to admit that Kyoko didn't put the locker key in her room. That it was someone else.
But who else could it have been?
I mean, Byakuya had a room key, right?
You! What are you trying to imply?
But of course, I have an alibi. From nighttime on, I was with you guys the entire time. I couldn't possibly have killed anyone, or put the key in Kyoko's room.
Well, someone had to put the key in there.
There's only one other possibility I can think of. Someone could have had the key on them, then once they arrived at the scene, pretended to find it there.
And now the suspicion is coming right back to me. What?
It had to be Makoto, right?
I don't see any other option.
Wait a second. You've got it all wrong. Let's think about it one more time. There's gotta be a hidden side to this case.
Huh? A hidden side?
First of all, there's something off about this entire trial. You all see it, don't you? Mukuro, who we didn't even know existed, suddenly shows up dead. And then we're thrown into a trial. And Kyoko even said, it's a trap the mastermind set for us. So that's why this has to be...
Okay, time's up!
Huh?
Time's up! Class trial's all over! Everyone can stop talking now!
What's wrong? Were we getting a little too close to the truth?
What? Time's up?
What do you mean time's up? There's no time's up. Since when have we...
It's because you were late, so we had to push back the start time.
I like how, no wait,
So
it's
then,
still the
it's
same.
time for voting time, okay? Everyone, please vote using the lever in front of you!
Voting time?
Here we are, the end of the class trial.
Now, who will be chosen as the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one?
Hey, hold on!
What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
What? You think I'm the killer? Sorry, man.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. It's all your fault. Everyone, you're wrong. You've got it all wrong. I didn't do it.
Yes, indeed.
Good job, everyone. Good job.
Yep.
Yeah, they got right. Did they now? So, if that's interesting, how I apparently got right whether or not it was Kyoko I end up fingering as a suspect, or if I end up taking the blame. We can't both be the culprit, Monokuma, so what gives? No, I know that's not true. None of this makes any sense. This whole trial doesn't make any sense.
Hey!
It makes perfect sense!
Shing!
It's the same as always. It's just like all the other class trials. And I'm gonna end it the same way.
Thrills, chills, kills!
It's time for your heart-pounding, positively thrilling punishment. Wait! Why do I... Kyoko!
I don't expect you to forgive me. I know this is all my fault.
Kyoko?
Let's give it everything we've got! It's punishment time!
It's okay, Kyoko. I've already forgiven you. If that is any consolation to you. I'm not typically one to hold a grudge. It's even the same damn punishment, too. So this obviously wasn't a custom-made tailored punishment that you create for Kyoko. Yeah, you're fucking screwing with us, Bear. I like how on the little blackboard there, it's obviously talking about something sex ed related. Like, of all the times to go over something like this. You're a freak, Monokuma. Hey! Alter ego! I don't know, it looks like I'm pretty much dead anyway, going by the length of that fall. Huh? Huh? What's this? What's going on? Hey, what was that? Yeah, it had to be.
This is...
Alter ego. Alter ego? Is this some stupid virus from that stupid guy? He must have planted it when he invaded my network. Damn it all to hell! I don't believe this!
It would seem...
It seems you finally made a miscalculation. No. You miscalculated from the very beginning.
What the heck?
What was that?
In other words...
What I'm saying is, you shouldn't have underestimated us. Why are you talking like you've already won? I barely felt a thing. It was a pinch, an itch. The stupid virus is gone now. Got it? And so is Makoto. Maybe I didn't get to smash him flat, but you're never gonna see him again. To waste away in a garbage-strewn pit. In a way, that's an even better special punishment. But it's still not enough. I'm still not satisfied. I'm gonna bring despair to the rest of you. Bring despair to the entire world. Is he gone? Well, going by what was just spoken of by the bear, it looks like I'm going to somehow survive this, but I'm going to end up just dying a slow, painful death surrounded by garbage. Probably through starvation and the like. So, yeah, I would deduce that I'm still alive. Hey, Kyoko, what's the meaning of all this? Just what the hell is going on?
Calm down.
It's okay. We're not the ones being trapped this time. Huh?
In other words...
Now it's the mastermind that's ensnared.
What did you say?
What are you talking about?
So...
You'll understand soon enough. Very soon indeed. The massive high school towers all over the other buildings in this bustling urban area. It's like the school stands at the center of the entire world. Hope's Peak Academy. It brings in top students from every field imaginable. A government-funded school of privilege. They say that if you come here and manage to graduate, you'll be set for life. With hundreds of years of tradition, it sends the cream of the crop into the workforce every year. It was built to raise hope in the nation's future, which makes Hope's Peak a pretty fitting name. There are two things you need to attend this school. One, you have to have already be attending high school. Two, you have to be the very best at what you do. No ordinary student could enroll here. The only way in is if you're scouted by the school itself. And standing there at the gate of the ultimate school filled with the ultimate students was me. What? Where am I? I woke up with my head resting on top of a hard wooden desk. My body felt heavy. It wouldn't be weird for me to zonk off in the middle of some boring class or whatever, but what was I doing asleep here just now? It wasn't any classroom I'd been in before. What the heck is going on? Finally come back to the present, I see. And hey! See that little thing in the right pile over there? The Monokuma-shaped thing? It looks an awful lot like the rocket we saw at the very beginning. Finally. I could finally feel my mind and body start to come back together again. And then, I was awake. Or was this just another dream? A dream inside a hopeless nightmare. No, this isn't a dream. I could tell, because the stench invading my nostrils was too powerful for a dream. What an awful smell. I was in a vast, dark cavern, with the barest hint of light seeping in. Trash was piled high all across the area. This must be some kind of underground garbage pit. I have a situation to find myself in. But that was just the beginning of my problems. Was I going to be stuck in there until I wasted away and died? No, I can't let that happen. Not after what my good friend went through to save me. I remembered all too well what had happened. I alter ego. Saved me. It would have been nice if you saved Kyoko in the bad ending, though. And used up the last little bit of his strength to do it. So I can't give up now. For myself. And for my friend. And with that, my pursuit of survival began. First up was to start looking for a way out of here. I think we can save trying to find a way out of here for the next episode. Because I'm going to go ahead and cut things off here. And I think it's pretty much a good time as any to leave things off. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Danganronpa. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.